Hi again, everyone. Today is day 6 of the Quantum Coaching Challenge. So, today we are being asked to share our biggest breakthrough. This one I'm kind of excited about because I've had so many. It is going to be hard to choose the main one, but I do have one that I want to share because it's kind of like 3 breakthroughs for one event. So, we're being asked as well to talk about how the steps that we took to get to that breakthrough. So for me, it's been a long process. So when you start doing personal development and coaching, what happens is it becomes like layers that peel off like an onion. You peel off the first layer, and the first layer is usually what you need to deal with immediately. And then as you keep peeling off layers, you go deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to some of the deeper stuff. And it's actually taken me a few years to get to my biggest one. And the reason for that is because I didn't even know that it was an issue. So for me, an event that happened when I was 8 years old was when my family was basically split in two. I had a stepmom who I believe was my real mum and some brothers and sisters. One brother was my real brother, the others were my stepbrothers and sisters, and I didn't know that. And we had been told that our parents were going to separate, and I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't really fully understand what that meant. And also on the day that it happened, we weren't told. So all I remember is coming around the corner and my stepmom and my dad were out the front and she was there ready to take her kids with her. And at the time, I didn't even know they weren't my brothers and sisters or my real brothers and sisters. So I didn't know why she took them and why we stayed with my dad. And none of it made any sense. And my dad sent us inside to our rooms and never helped us deal with it. So I had to deal with it on my own. And for a long time, I forgot. I forgot what actually happened. I knew some of it, but I didn't know the emotional side because what I had done was blocked off the emotions and I didn't even know I'd done it. So for me, for a long time, I just thought, oh yeah, I was a kid, resilient, and I just dealt with it and I was fine. So I thought. That was not the case. And at some point when I started personal development, I realized that that event had more to it because I couldn't access any of the feelings or a lot of really what happened around that time. So I knew it was a big thing, but I couldn't access it. I couldn't get to the emotions and I didn't know how. And it took me quite a while of dealing with other things in my life, peeling off the layers, that I eventually got to that one. And it began with somebody triggering me. They were really upsetting me, and I couldn't really understand why. And I know now, because of a lot of work that I've done, that if somebody else triggers you, then there's something there for you to learn. So I knew that even though the person was annoying me and making me upset, I knew it wasn't all their fault, that obviously there was something there for me to learn. And anyway, one night I went to bed and I was so upset that I almost emotionally wiped this person. And something in me stopped me and told me, what are you doing? This is what you did when you were 8 years old. And suddenly, for the first time, I actually accessed what had happened. I had wiped my emotions. I just shut them down because I didn't know how to deal with them. And I spent the rest of my life, up until recently, with my heart shut down. And I didn't even know. And so, yeah, that was a really big event for me. I cried a lot. And crying can seem scary to people. But what I learned through doing this work is that when you cry, you release it and then you can move on because you get rid of the hold that it has on you. So a lot of people are scared to do that. The very first time I had to release things, I was really scared. I thought I was going to break in half, basically. That doesn't happen. It feels like it at the time, but then you come through it and you move on and you become a better person and feel better because of it. So That's what happened with that event. And then later on, more parts to that event started to come out. And it was funny because now that I've done so much of this work, things just come to me at crazy different times. Like being out here smelling the flowers triggered one of my memories that led to a breakthrough. Being in the shower one day led to me recognizing a limiting belief that I was later able to release as well. So with the flower incident, what that actually brought up was that I was smelling the flower, and it brought up memories of me and my stepsister when we were little making perfume with flowers. We used to get water and squish them and turn it into perfume. Very silly, little girl stuff, but it was something I did with her, so it was a fond memory. And then I felt like her mum was around me. And for the first time, sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional. So for the first time, I actually felt love for them. I couldn't feel it for a very long time. And even being able to get emotional about these things, in the past I couldn't have even done that. Being vulnerable was one of my biggest fears. So I've been facing a lot of my fears, and yeah, being able to express them in front of other people and not feeling scared to do that anymore. So in that experience, for the first time I felt the emotions that I hadn't felt in a long time. And then when I did, I broke down and I just cried for 10, 20 minutes. But afterwards, I felt great because I was able to actually release that and move on from it. And I thought I was then done, but I was wrong. There was actually a third one all around this one event. And the third one was actually during one of my coaching sessions with one of the other student coaches. And that memory came up one more time. And within that memory, what came up was how I felt on the day that it happened, because I didn't remember that either. But what I actually felt was the panic, the dread, the feeling in my stomach that I felt on that day and hadn't been able to remember. So for me, going through those 3 events all around that same experience has been huge. And I've been able to let go of a lot of stuff. And I think I've let it all go now. Who knows if there's more there? I don't think so. But because of that, now, I've been able to move on from it. And that is part of what has made me a stronger person. And it gives me experience to help other people who have been through similar events in their lives. Not necessarily the same, but we all have events that are traumatic for us that we have to go through. So that was my, I would say, biggest breakthrough, because so much came from that I wasn't able to previously access, but now I've let that go. And as part of that, I've been starting to able to open my heart again and start to feel emotions again, because for so long I couldn't, and I didn't know why, but now I do. And so I'm just sharing that because I want other people to know that it is possible to be able to deal with things that are really hard, and you can get through them, and you can move on and live a happier life. And so I hope that inspires other people to get help they need if they choose to do so. So thank you for listening and sharing and allowing me to be vulnerable. And thanks for listening.